Hello, Heather.
Hi, Dan. How you doing?
I'm so good. We're, for everybody who's watching this, going to do a special interview questions and answers for interviews in 2024.
24.
And I'm here with LA's only, that I know of, and I've looked really hard, LA's only, wait a minute,
Certified.
headhunter that specializes in healthcare and law and is a certified resume writer, the only one I have found. So I'm bringing you the best today, and I'm going to try to keep it zipped so that Heather can give you all her pearls of wisdom. So Heather, say hello and tell everybody what you're doing. I'm going to try to not talk as much.
Hi, everyone. First of all, we never want you to talk less.
Thank you, Heather.
Don't ever commit to that. Don't deprive all of us of your wisdom.
Oh, Heather.
Dan so graciously introduced, my name is Heather Littman. I am a certified resume writer, perhaps his favorite on the West Coast, not necessarily the only one, but we can pretend that's true. I'm also a headhunter, otherwise known as a recruiter or a talent acquisition specialist. So I help companies hire specific kinds of people for their companies. And
thank you, Heather. And you know, Heather, I recently have been trying to tell people, but I don't think I have made it clear, and I don't think I articulate it as well as you do, to always align themselves with a recruiter or a headhunter that specializes in the type of thing that they do so that they can always be on the market and available until they found their forever home. You know, in terms of a job, I believe that people should always be available. And if that is so, could you just speak a little bit more on that, what the relationship is?
So there's this misconception. So, okay, let me back up. If you are working in the construction field and you connect with construction recruiters, there's a very likely chance that that construction recruiter is going to have a construction job for you as construction talent. So that's one thing to do, is be mindful of the recruiter's area of focus and position yourself within that area and position yourself visibly for them. The second thing you want to do, whether you're matched up with a recruiter who's part of your industry or not, is give. What do we want them to do, Dan?
Give.
Give. And what I mean by that is every now and then you might want to send a recruiter a message and say, hey, not sure if you're having trouble filling any of your positions. Obviously, I have a huge network. Who are you looking for right now? Maybe I can help. You do that one time and help a recruiter make one placement, I guarantee you they will be on a hunt to help you find your forever home. So there's a way to incentivize someone to work on your behalf, because otherwise, and I could show you screenshots of this happening to me all day. I won't, because that would be rude and unprofessional. But where folks reach out to me and say, hey, I'm looking for this kind of job, and my initial reaction is so.
Oh, I see.
Why are you, because, and it does, it's just a natural sort of reaction. Maybe that's not the best reaction, but I'll explain my rationale. I'm sitting here every minute that clocks by that I don't give my client the right candidate is the minute that they might be finding the candidate on their own, or another recruiter might be submitting. So time is of the essence. And so when my attention is diverted towards not my target, and that could mean responding to people who have applied for jobs that I've posted for which they're not qualified, or, just entertaining the fact that someone is giving me the opportunity to work on their behalf with no guarantee of compensation. So
that's a big deal.
So when someone reaches out to me and says, hey, I'm looking for this, I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's kind of like, I don't know. I'll think of one later. But essentially, the company pays me to find the talent. Talent doesn't pay me to find the company.
Right.
And it's not just all about money, but I'm just speaking pragmatically. People go to work to earn, and that's okay.
I'm a big believer in, unless you're in a charity field, you might be doing what you're doing to make the money to then fulfill your destiny, to invest, or to be the philanthropist, whatever. What you're doing is not a charity case. It is about making money. So I agree with you. If you want to be the most efficient, remember that at all times, and choose your path. Heather, I want to get right into today's subject because I don't want to lose one moment of the pearls of wisdom that I know you're going to give us today. So our topic today is we're going to be talking about the top 10 interview questions for 2024. And I've been looking into this, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on here, because a lot of the ways that we answer these types of questions has changed because of the landscape and the technology changing. So I apologize. I do not have in front of me the questions I did for a moment. Do you have them? Did you just send them?
The first, here, I'll send them right now. The first question that comes to mind, Dan.
Yes. Why don't you ask me? I'll try to do an answer, and then you will tell me the correct answer.
Let's do a role play where I'm the recruiter, you're the talent, and then we'll debrief on like why that worked or didn't work.
Fantastic. And do not humor me or be nice to me and just tell me it's a good answer because you wanted me to feel good. You wouldn't do that.
This is for the people, not for our egos. Okay. So, Dan, thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me today.
It's my pleasure.
Tell me, what's prompting you to consider a new opportunity at this time?
I believe where I am, I have really done everything that I can do and learned everything that I could. I've taken as much advantage of the position as I possibly can. And I think that it's just time. There's no more room to grow. And so I wanted to learn new things, and I couldn't do that at the position I'm in. I wish that I could, but here I am because of that.
Excellent. Let's pause there for a minute. Now, this is what I love about that. It's true. This is an authentic answer, and it also gives me confidence that so long as this person has room to grow, they're going to be there and doing a good job.
Oh, okay, good. Thanks.
Now, what would have been the best answer?
Tell me.
Is, and we need to pretend, let's say you wanted to work at my company, Hire Writing.
Okay.
And so if I'm interviewing you to work at my company, which is resumes and recruiting, and I asked you what's prompting you to consider a new opportunity, what would really tickle me to hear is something like, I've always had a passion for helping people find great jobs.
And I know that you are the place to be if I want to do that effectively.
Alignment. We talked about this.
Alignment.
The alignment. So yes, I'm trying to relate it back to some of your amazing lessons.
That's okay. We're all about, that's one of the things that I got out of the very brief conversation that you and I had is alignment, alignment, alignment. From the words that I'm putting on my resume to the stories that I tell, make sure that I have that in mind, that I'm speaking to you and only to you so that I'm in alignment as much as possible.
Perfect. You said something key right there. Have that in mind. And actually, I remember making a personal compass once. I think that was your instruction.
That was me. Yep.
Yeah. And what that does for me is I'll call it an employer-oriented attitude where everything I write and everything I say is designed to matter to you, not to me. So in the example that we just went through, you told me everything that matters to you.
Uh-huh.
I want to grow, I want to self-actualize. And everyone hiring wants to hire someone who does want to self-actualize because they're self-governed. That's perfect. But what's most people are going to say is that, but when you get to be an outstanding candidate, when you want to stand out from everybody, well, then you're thinking about me before you're thinking about your own self-actualization.
Oh, that's okay. So I'm going to try again and tell me if I'm going in the right direction.
Sure.
Okay. So that's me again. Hello. Hi.
Hi, Dan. Thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me today. I saw that you responded to the ad I posted on LinkedIn. And I'd love to learn about what you're interested in doing next or what prompted you to consider this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Lipman. And by the way, thank you for taking the time to meet with me and giving me this opportunity. I appreciate that. I was excited when I saw your ad on the LinkedIn board because I've always wanted to help people fulfill their destiny. And I believe that since we spend most of our time awake at work, this would be such a great opportunity for me to learn how to help people do that on an everyday basis. And I know that learning from you, I would be really bringing my skills to an elite level that I might not be able to in other organizations. So when I saw this opportunity, I just had to jump at it and give it my best shot.
Perfect.
Was that better?
That was so much better.
Okay. What should I have done to make it even better?
So, and this isn't fair because next time we do this, let's use an actual job description.
Okay.
And we'll reference some of the points. So you guys as viewers don't know this, but if I'm a small business, one person. And so your response of, I'd really like to learn from you could either be very appealing to some small business owners or very scary.
Sure. That could be very off-putting to me because I would think, oh God, I'm going to spend all day trying to show you all this stuff.
100%, which always comes back to, I don't have anything to say until I know who I'm talking to first. And because, this is sort of the problem with using AI generated responses, because yes, that's great in general, but you don't want to be general.
Oh yeah.
You want to be specific. You want to be you. You want to be the one Dan O'Connor that's right for the one Heather Lippman, because we're going to be the one pair that makes the most magic. Watch out, internet. Here we come.
Thank you, Heather. So would you say, for example, I'm going to write 3 things down that I would do for that question. For most questions, I would believe. Number 1, I want to make sure that I'm in alignment. So I'm going to put down the word alignment.
Yep.
Number 2, I want to make my answer unique. So for example, if I could say whatever I'm thinking of saying to another company, I don't want to say that, right? Like I want to make sure that I can only say it with you, or that I
That's a great question. I mean, hey, I can't even though we declared I'm the only certified resume writer on the West Coast, it's not the truth.
Declare it.
Yeah. So that's not the truth. So if you are, this is such a good question. If you are committed to your target, if your target is to work at a resume writing / recruiting agency, then these answers are going to work for every single person who has a resume writing and a recruiting agency, which also helps make tailoring your resume a whole lot easier, because here's the fun part. You're actually tailoring it to what you want. You want to be at a resume writing recruiting agency, so you're going to make a document that reflects that and present it only to a resume writing recruiting agency audience.
Thank you, Heather. So maybe then to create this showcase type resume, when I get the call because of that type of resume,
yes.
And by the way, I'm going to hurry up and not do this as much and ask you so many questions, because I know you want to get through these. I might want to, for example, find out one thing about you. And when I get that initial question, what brought you in here today, I could say the alignment, the unique charm and all of that. And then maybe end it with, and knowing that you are the only certified resume writer on the West Coast, I knew that I would have a great opportunity with you. Like find one tidbit about each person. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
All you need, like when you find that one tidbit, you need say no more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I should just zip it then.
I mean, it's true. It's just like last year I was recruiting an AR specialist for a substance use billing company. I got a resume that literally had one sentence on it. It said 16 years substance use billing. I could not care less that it didn't have her name or her contact number. It was one sentence. That's all I cared about. That's what the company needed. So when you know your audience, you don't have to work so hard to fit in.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to question number 2 then.
Number 2. All right, this is so much fun. Who knew role play?
Who knew?
We knew, didn't we?
We did.
No. Okay, number 2. Why are you leaving your current job?
Well,
this one's tricky.
This one is tricky. Okay, well, as I mentioned, I was looking to shift gears a little bit and go into an area that isn't necessarily the focus of the company where I was. And so since this company it's time for me to leave that and come here.
Yeah.
That was the worst answer ever. This is why we have you, Heather.
So, I mean, sometimes I'll notice that people are like, it just didn't feel right. And then I'll give them the words. So are you saying there was a cultural mismatch? And they'll say, yes, that's exactly what it was, a cultural mismatch, which is code for I was going to blow my brains out if I said it for a hot second, like I just couldn't.
Now, when you say you give people the words, is in your position as a recruiter or
yeah.
in your, okay, so not in as the person hiring you isn't going to do that, ideally? Okay.
No. So I'm the intermediary. So my relay of that person's answer to my client, who is the one who will hire, will be, in general, they expressed a cultural mismatch.
Okay.
Which I'll follow up with. So what would an attractive culture look like for you?
Perfect. So as to answer the question, why are you leaving your current job? A blanket great answer would be, well, there was okay. So let me start again. Okay, ready.
Well, yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
Which job are you leaving from? Just so we have a little more context.
Any job.
Okay.
I'm leaving I was a speaker and trainer.
Okay, right. And now you're talking to me higher writing because you want to.
I want to learn what you do and do what you do.
Okay. So yeah. So tell me what prompting you to. What's the reason for the separation from the Wizard of Words LLC?
Well, although I got a lot out of it and enjoyed my time there, I believe that now there's been a culture change and there's simply a culture mismatch that I believe would be actually better. You can tell I'm such a liar now. Okay, I'm going to start over. Okay, ask me again.
Okay. So what's the reason? What's the cause for the separation with the Wizard of Words?
Well, I believe that in general, it's more like a culture thing. And I think that the culture, from what I understand at Higher Writing, is a much better fit and a great place for both of us to grow. When I say both of us, I mean you and me.
So what I'm thinking when you say that is, where did you learn about the culture of my one-person company?
Well, I've been stalking you online, and I've learned your home address.
Yeah.
But I did, by the way. I do, as I'm sure a lot of us do. You have a beautiful website. Did you do that?
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I outsourced it. Yeah.
You did a great job. And I really did believe, as I was looking through that, I'm like, oh, she's serious. So I would think, as an entrepreneur woman, you express in your website the type of person you are, and it was very clean and well done and professional. So the culture does look like a much better fit, because where I am now, for example, there just seems to be too many cooks in that pot. Your business seems to be very streamlined and focused.
Thank you. And I'm trying to put a shout out. Oh, can I join the chat? No.
Oh, I'm sure you could. I should be monitoring that. My lovely assistant Marty is not with us today.
There's a lot going on. This is so exciting. Hold on, I'm signing into.
You can moderate them?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
I'll try to do that while you're busy doing stuff too.
Shout out to StreamYard, and then regarding my website, I'm going to give a shout out to Palms Boulevard. Because
how do you give shout outs?
They hooked it up. We're going to website shout out Palms Boulevard. Check them out.
Really?
Yeah. So much fun.
Great.
Actually, yeah. Best customer service ever. Okay. I do see some questions here, but let's get through ours and then we'll come back to
So question number 3. So question number 1, I want to make sure I'm in alignment. They are unique. And I'm going to drop at the end something about your business that shows I've done my homework.
Yeah.
Sound good?
May I consolidate it?
Yes.
The answer to question number 1 of why do you want to work here? All you need to do is find one true tidbit.
Thank you.
Just one.
One true tidbit.
And with that one true tidbit, you're in alignment. With that true tidbit, you're probably unique.
And that one true tidbit is going to showcase my benefit, but as it pertains to you. So it's very, very, very in alignment.
In alignment. Yes. And the tidbit can be something like, oh, I read that you guys were just acquired. Or I read that you're launching a new service line. Or I saw the post on Instagram. Anything that's true. Actually, look online and let the data scream and catch you. The data is going to be like, hey, use me. Use me. I'm a good conversation starter. And then you just take that little tidbit with you.
It sounds like me. Okay. Use me.
I'll come back with examples because sometimes
it's
abstract. But yes.
Okay. No, that's you're very, very clear. Number 2 then. Yes. The number 2 question was, why did you leave your current position? And the number 1 takeaway, the number 1 thing I want to focus on is the culture. Is that correct?
Oh, no. That's just one reason. The reason you left your job, you just want to be honest. So if it was a bad work environment, you want to say a cultural mismatch.
I see. Oh, I see. So my purpose is to be honest, but find a diplomatic way to say
100% honest diplomacy, because there have been plenty of times where someone has said, I had to get out of there. It was really taking a toll on my mental health. And I would share that with a hiring manager. The hiring manager would say, of course, that place was going down the tubes.
I see. So we want to express to them that does many things. It shows that I'm honest and I am diplomatic and have powerful communication skills.
And that's usually where I'll see people struggling to not want to say something negative. And so I'll say, is it the case? There's like a cultural mismatch, at which point they get really excited because that is what they're trying to say. It's just not a phrase that people use very often.
Fantastic. And by the way, hi, Sarah and Truth Seeker and Lizzie. And this is a great one. So let's move right along. Number 3. What is the top 3?
Number 3 is okay, this is great. Dan, I totally hear you. I think you could really be an asset here at Higher Writing. Tell me, how has the work you've done at the Wizard of Words translate over here at Higher Writing? The Wizard of Words, your tactical communication. Higher Writing, we're basically, employment and staffing and job acquisition. What's the overlap?
Well, I've always had to focus on, when I'm writing anything, what is the benefit in reading this to the reader? And so I think that is one area that I might be able to bring experience with me to Higher Writing, because no matter what I'm writing in a resume, or no matter what I'm saying to a prospective employer, I'm sure that I would want to highlight the benefits of the prospect to that employer, either it's in person, on the phone, or in the resume.
Great. What I think I'm hearing you say is that you bring the element of tactical communication to an industry that relies heavily on storytelling. So the resume is a storytelling. Me presenting a candidate to a hiring manager, there's an element of storytelling. Me selling your company's opening is a story. I'm selling that story. And so,
I want to give a new answer. Okay. I'm giving a new answer. Ready?
Okay. All right, Dan. So yeah, tell me, the Wizard of Words is really interesting. How do you see your experience there translating here at Higher Writing?
As you know, our culture in general has put a lot of emphasis recently on storytelling. And so as I have gotten into alignment with that and tried to improve my own storytelling capabilities, I know that that's something that is used a lot in recruiting and in resume writing. And so I think here at Higher Writing, that's one thing not only could I bring to the table, but I can also develop as I'm here.
Great. If this was true and Dan ever knocked on my door and said, I'd like to work with you, I would, whatever you want to do here, because there's so much overlap between tactical communication and, selling the stories of people, so to speak.
But that is, thank you. But that is that the thing that I want to do, is find the overlap of the most important thing to you?
Yeah. So let's reverse it. Let's say I want to work at the Wizard of Words.
Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Okay. Hey. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Heather. Thank you for coming in here today. Let me ask you, Heather.
Yes.
What was the question? Tell me, Heather, what skills do you think what do you think are the skills that you can bring from your old job to this job that would serve you and us the most? Is that what I'm asking you? Is that the right question?
That's what you're trying to say. 100%. Okay. Really, what he's wanting to know is like,
what do you got for me?
What do you got for me? How are you gonna help me do what I need to do?
Okay. So yeah, Heather. So I'll just do that now. I'll be like how I would at Dan O'Connor training. What do you got for me?
Yeah. Well, Dan, let me tell you what I got for you.
Tell me.
Higher Writing operates on the basis of compelling and persuasive storytelling.
Ooh.
Whether it be on paper, live video, during an interview, or even a post-interview thank you note. We understand that your words can speak for you in your absence. And from what I've seen on the Wizard of Words, you bring that element of language, that element of storytelling to a whole new level. I can't imagine how working with Wizard of Words wouldn't just...
I would totally be like, lady, you are so hired. Anyone who would take the time to lay it on that thick, I can't imagine what you're going to do once we work together.
So here's the simple answer. Why do I want to work with Wizard of Words? Well, Dan, we're a perfect match. You give them the words in life, and I give them the words on paper.
Oh God. Okay. So that is what I'm sensing a common theme. The common theme is going to be, we are a perfect match. And when it's, why did I leave my old position? I'm using that to show you why I'm a perfect match in terms of our alignment. Yeah. And when you just said, for example, what was the question?
Oh,
The crossover. So I'm going to use that as an example to show why we're a perfect match because of the skills that we have in common that I'll be bringing. So you don't have to train me to do them, but it's all about that same, we are a perfect match. And I'm going to just explain that to you every single word I say.
When you edit this video, can you make this point right here like some like soft violin music? That's a revelation, and we're just skipping through the field holding hands.
Yes, I will absolutely do that.
I couldn't have thought of a better, more easily digestible way to say it. We're a perfect match, and everything I say is going to prove that.
Fantastic. Okay, great. I was just talking with the client the other day, and it's when you have to be strategic, which is what you're doing in a job interview, a sales presentation, you really do want to, before you go into it, if possible, ask yourself, what am I saying here, and why? Is it contributing to the goal? And if it's not, throw it out the window, right?
There, 100%. And the only way I know if what I'm about to say is valuable is if I know something about you. Okay. So, for example, if here's a really common example.
Okay.
For executive positions, when I can't say it because people might be watching this. There's
an example. I apologize. Go ahead.
No. There's just okay. I'll have to think of a different example. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Think about that. And while we do question number 4.
Yes. So let's move to question number 4, which actually kind of relates back to what I was just thinking of.
Okay.
So Dan, I'm a startup. There is a ton of work to do here. I mean, would you be happy doing that? You're going to do everything. This is not the place for a 9 to 5. I don't know. We had a holiday this week. Who had a holiday this week? We didn't have a holiday this week. I mean, truthfully, will you be happy in this environment?
Well, I'm not sure about the environment yet because I haven't experienced it. But from what I know, it's an environment that's fast-paced, that keeps you on your toes and encourages your brain to want to learn more and to be active, which is exactly what I need. So it, from what I know, would be a great fit, and the two of us would have a very symbiotic relationship. Did I even say that right?
I'm going to say that's a bad answer.
That was a terrible answer. I want to start over.
No, that was a bad answer because I heard about what's good for you, not what's good for me.
Shoot.
And truthfully, like this is, somebody said here a minute ago, Sarah at 422 said, this is so helpful.
Smart.
You had to do everything in your power not to show any ounce of being negative in an interview. F that, Sarah. You want to be happy where you go. And so if in fact you do not want to work at a place that doesn't respect the 9 to 5 rule, that doesn't respect the national paid time off holidays, then let them know right there in the interview. Thank you so much for your time. That actually won't work for me.
Okay. So during the interview, if I find a point that is a what do you call it? A breakout, this, stop point.
Deal breaker.
Deal breaker. Thank you. The deal breaker. I would want to tell them right then, oh, well, 100%. Since you said that. Now, so when I'm saying that, I bet a lot of employers, that would be the first time anyone's ever done that. And what would I say so that maybe there's still a benefit in that meeting?
For sure. What happens when you do something like that is, number one, I'm going to write in my notes, wasn't interested in the startup culture. As like a reasonable person, I don't fault you for that. Who the heck wants to not work 9 to 5? Who the heck doesn't want to have paid holidays off? You're more than within your right to have that opinion. So now 8 months down the road I've hired a staff of 10, and all of a sudden we're respecting the 9 to 5 policy. And I really liked what I offered. Didn't work for you at the moment, but now what I have to offer could. Let me call you back and say, you know what, Dan, we had a great talk 6 months ago. I actually really respected the fact that you told me the work-life balance was something you weren't willing to compromise with. Well, guess what? We've got that to offer now. Are you still open to exploring a new life here at Higher Writing?
Of course. By the way, I love that you used that industry catchphrase, work-life balance. And so if I were to stop an interview, I might say something like, tell me if I'm right, say something like, oh, Heather, I'm glad that you told me that, because work-life balance is something that's a priority for me right now. So if it ever changes and that becomes a priority for you as well, why don't you give me a call? Is that like the type of thing I would want to say?
Perfect. I mean, I hear it all the time. And
Okay.
you know, there's nothing better than being honest up front, because why lie yourself into something you're going to hate, and then ultimately you won't stay and you'll just be back in the interviewee's chair again.
Okay. That's great. Which is why we should want to have that 6-month fund in the bank. So if we do find ourselves looking for work, we can take plenty of time to do it, right?
And I think Dan's going to be coming out with the financial planning guide 2025.
Me? Oh gosh, that's make sure to avoid that one. Although I was that was not the career path for me.
And then lastly,
number 5.
Yes, which is a good segue. Really was going to touch on, you know, what are your expectations for work-life balance? And there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to this. The only wrong answer is if you're not being true to yourself.
Wait, did you say that that's one of the top 5 questions? What is your expectations in terms of work-life balance?
Yeah.
That's it? That is the question?
I mean, I asked that. So when I'm recruiting for executive positions at startups or fast-growing companies, I'm the recruiter. I don't even work there. I know that it's not a 9-to-5 culture, because I'm emailing with these people on the weekends and at night. Like, once you transcend that level, the 9-to-5 boundary doesn't apply anymore. And so I'm not going to spend my time introducing a company that needs to hire to someone whose top priority at this moment is to be beholden to a 9-to-5 schedule. There's nothing wrong with this either. It's just respecting, hey, I'm at a place in my life personally where that's what's number one to me. I've been there 100%, you know? So yes. So being honest with yourself about what you want is really a huge part of the equation of this being a successful endeavor.
See, now that's where you got me now, because it's true. Anytime we go away from that, is we will never really, we're off the path now to our destiny. But we get desperate. I've been desperate.
That's it.
Yep, desperate people make desperate decisions.
Yeah, and you know what, people, I want to say, I've been in desperate situations where there was an immediate need to get a paycheck. Sometimes that's going to be true, especially if, Dan O'Connor's financial program to freedom doesn't bode well and you don't have the 6 months in the bank. And it's really not a joking matter. At that point, I respect anyone who does what needs to be done to take care of business. Once you are at a position where you have the luxury of saying, I really like to be somewhere else, it's especially important then to honor your own truth, keep it hidden to an extent, learn all about where you want to be, advertise that you align with that, and then you basically get to satisfy 2 parties at once. I once worked for a company and they had a motto that was like, we are quietly confident, openly humble. And I really liked that. So, kind of like dating, you're on your best behavior in the beginning. But if money is not a pressing issue, you have every right to be selective. In fact, the more selective you are, the better the outcome is going to be, because you're really going to find your right match. Just like Dan said, the perfect match. Thank you so much for summing that up. So
well, and it's like there are different representations of the one relationship we have. And so it is just like any relationship. When you feel as though you are enough, and when you recognize that you are enough and you have enough and there's nothing that you really need, you might desire something else, but when you go into that with that spirit and that attitude, it is true how in a negotiation process, it's the person who needs it the most who gets the worst deal. And so if you are the one walking in the door, like confident and loving, right? But saying, I'm going to love you so much, I'm going to be honest about who I am. And then you will both find in the end that win-win, just like in a romantic relationship, because it's all the same. Yes?
I know we're approaching the end time here, but Lizzie asked a question.
Okay. We're good. I said 10, but we might do 5, right? And then put 5 in the description.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Plus, I only sent Jean 5. But
Oh, well, there you go. I just invented 10. Okay.
Lizzie asked curious about how quoting a cultural mismatch isn't perceived as negative towards your previous employer. Because Lizzie, it's unrealistic to believe that every experience in your employment history was a positive one. I mean, where does that happen? It's, I mean,
you're right. A mismatch could be if I were working at a place that's really macho, like, and they were all guys talking about sports and whatever. I would not flourish there, I don't think, but maybe my brother might.
And so truly, if it's really, and this will sound a little philosophical, but like you're just presenting the fact. The fact is every company has a culture, and the fact is every person has a brand. And the fact is that those will either align or they won't. And so I once had a job where it was almost required that everyone wore yoga pants and sat on a bouncy ball with their laptop on their lap, eating granola out of a mason jar. Like that's just what happened. It wasn't necessarily my brand, and I didn't last there. I didn't fit
Southern
in.
California.
Yeah. I mean, it was like the coolest, building and all the good, it was super shiny, but like at the end of the day, that just wasn't me. And they weren't me, and I, wasn't them. And so I'm not saying that what they're doing is wrong, though.
Yeah.
I'm saying that what they're doing didn't work for me, and that's okay. I'm allowed to understand what works for me and what doesn't.
That's, I'm glad that you said that. We have to remember to tell ourselves things like that all the time, especially if you don't have parents. And I mean that because like I will frequently call my mother and I'll be telling her something and she'll just go like, wait, do you need my permission to quit that job? Is that what you're saying to me? Are you looking for me to give you permission to do, to dump that friend, whatever you ask? And I'll be like, yeah. And she'll say, oh, you have permission. I'll be like, oh, thank you so much. And it will just lift a weight. But I know that I'm going to have to learn how to give myself that permission.
And you know what, to your point right now, I'm reading Lizzie's comment at 436. Quote, this is very freeing advice. You just talked about a weight being lifted off. Because it's really burdensome to pretend. It's so much easier to just be me. And that's one of the reasons I was drawn to your programs, Dan, is because, I have the right to make no a complete sentence. I have that right. And unfortunately or fortunately, I needed to hear somebody else say that for me to know that too. And that's okay. That's what we're doing here and helping people understand at the same time. But
thank you.
Yeah, Lizzie, I do this. I'm in the field all day. And the truth is the more you honor your own ask, the better your outcome is going to be. You don't need to.
By the way, you said honor your own ask.
Yeah, honor your own ask. So like some people will say, I'll say like, why are you open to a new job right now? I want to be remote. I want $35 an hour. And I want an employer that pays 75% of the health insurance.
Those exist?
So somewhere, maybe. But you have the right to want that. Your research and investigation and experience will let you know if it's realistic or not. But like, who the heck is anyone to say that you shouldn't want that?
And it's like when a lot of people talk to me about they have their ideal husband or wife in mind, and they have that picture there, and that's what they're consciously working for. And then, of course, they will get something totally out of left field, fall in love and marry them. But that might not have happened had they not at least had that picture and the purpose at the beginning, right? Like they might end up with a job totally different because they walk in the door and go, oh, this is totally what I was looking for and didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Does that happen? I actually should have asked you that. Does that happen?
Absolutely. And sometimes that's actually like the most fun as a recruiter is helping one party see the transferability with another party where these two may have never thought they would gel well together. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Can I ask you something, Heather, too? One of the biggest questions that I get is, it's all about resumes. And I know that is, as you are a certified resume writer. And I think that's the big deal. And I keep saying that because there are not a lot of them out there. And when you get your resume written, remember, you are always going to have to make the decision. You have to choose generally, there's the price that you're going to pay, the service that you're going to get, and what is the third thing that in every business? There's the price, the service, and the quality. That's it, the quality. So you can't get all three. You can't get the lowest price and the
Right.
highest quality and the best service. So you have to choose somebody that's quality. And this is one of the most important decisions you can possibly make, getting a job. So that's not where I would cut corners. That's why I wanted to go with Heather, because she's the best. And I frequently get questions about when to send out your resume is the question, because I'm a big believer, and I could be wrong, that I like to have it out there all the time so that if an opportunity arises that might be better than where I am now, people will consider me for that. But I could be wrong. Could you tell me about that, Heather?
You're so wrong.
I am? Okay.
You're so wrong. I love look at this comment. It says, just interrupt and just go. I'm being yelled at to interrupt you and go. Let me
good.
Pick this back up because I just love this, and it's such great conversation. Do you want, okay, you're a very good looking man, Dan. Okay?
Well, thank you, Heather. It's all for you.
Let's say we just put your picture on Plenty of Fish. Do you want every fish sending you a message?
No. And I know, oh, now I get it.
Now let me ask you, say you really want the shark. Is the shark going to want you if it perceives that you're open to any fish?
No.
So there's an element of, number one, protect your own data. Don't put your resume on any job board, because nowadays it's just scary. But number two is, you don't want to look like you're out there in the ocean floating, waiting to be caught by someone's fishing line, anyone's fishing line. You want to be seen as the person on the yacht with the harpoon stick, going after the opportunities that you select. And so the other reason is, I see the same resumes all the time. And one question I ask is why isn't anyone hiring them? Or are they happy anywhere they land? Same thing happens with a job description. I'll put an ad up. If I don't like the results I get, I immediately take it down and wait a week.
Oh, that's smart.
Yep.
You know what? It's just, you're highlighting how all relationships are the same, because it is true. That's a great analogy. The dating and the fishing, because it is true. There's a real strategy to writing a personal, is that what they even call them anymore? Your profile, a profile that gets you quality dates.
Yep.
And I never thought about it that way. That's absolutely right. If you are seen as available all the time, that is a problem.
It's a problem.
Thank you, Heather. So I should not I should not always be looking.
No.
I should maybe, how then could I always, tell me how to do this.
It's an amazing question. And then I'm going to hang up.
I know you are. I apologize. Okay.
No,
don't answer mine then. Tell me something that you wanted to make sure to say.
I never want to leave. Thank you all the people for the beautiful comments in the chats. No, I don't have shorts like Dan, but he's going to help me do them because I'm a little technologically impaired, and I just committed him to that here live. So there's nothing he can do about it.
Heather, how can people, I did tell people, right or wrong, that they could get a discount on your services. Sure. Tell people how they can get in touch with you for your services, because I forgot to tell them that, and I will put it again in the description.
Okay. I put my email in the chat, but it's been disconnected.
It is heather@higherwriting.com, correct?
info@higherwriting.com.
Info@higherwriting is hire, like hire a person to work for your company. HIRE.
Just like my little thing right here.
Higher writing. Yep, I see. Other side.
And then I'm going to leave you with this. Dan asked the most amazing question. Well, how is it the case that I stay visible and not miss out on opportunities if I don't have my information out there? LinkedIn.
Thank you, Heather.
You update your profile to attract specific sets of eyes without advertising that you're available to anybody. And I'm happy to pick up on that next time.
Let's do next time soon. We'll make it available to everybody really soon. Heather, have a great afternoon. Thank you for sharing all of this valuable information. And again, to get to work with Heather, I will put a link in the description, because you will, if I know that your schedule is full, you will offer some opportunities to our Dan O'Connor training clients.
Yes.
To work with you. Okay. I will make sure to put that link there so that you can do that, because Heather's the only one I recommend. Dan and I are like the sandwich bread to your sandwich of victory. Okay. You need us both. You're right in the middle. Good luck on your interview tomorrow, Lizzie. You're going to kill it. Let us know. You are Lizzie. Yes. Okay. Tell Lizzie the one sentence to say before she leaves the interview. Oh, okay. Anything that you want, not something I've said. What do you really believe?
Thank you for your time. I'm ready to start on Monday.
That's it. Thank you, Heather. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you, everybody. Have a great one. I appreciate your time, Heather.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Bye.
See you all soon.